Hello, my name is Odessa and this is Odessa English. In today's video, I will be telling you a spooky story. In honor of Halloween that just passed, I'm going to show you how I made a scarecrow, which is just any stuffed human. It's like a stuffed animal, but you're trying to make a human. It's very simple to make. You take a shirt, a pants, gloves, shoes, a hat, whatever you want your scarecrow to be wearing, and then you stuff it with leaves. It's so simple that I thought a tutorial would be kind of silly. That's why I decided to make a scary, spooky story while you watch me make a scarecrow. I'll be leaving important vocabulary and grammar topics in the comments below. If you do have a question though, feel free to ask about anything you hear in this video. Other than that, sit back, relax, and prepare to be spooked. This story is called The Scary Man. It starts off with a couple, as so many stories do. Now, this is a young couple. They live in the city and they get married. And as soon as they get married and they conceive, they get pregnant, they decide they don't want the city life for their child. They want a nice, safe neighborhood. They want to be able to take them to the park and it not be, littered or have glass or dirty needles or anything gross like that. So they find this cute little town just outside of the city, and it's beautiful. Imagine Whoville, like Dr. Seuss Whoville, think the Grinch. But instead of being obsessed with Christmas, this town is obsessed with Halloween, of course. Now, the month is actually October when they decide to move into this town. There's literally decorations everywhere. It's like you walked into Hogwarts or you walked into Halloween Town. There's just giant pumpkins, bats. People are wearing costumes and it's still weeks until Halloween. Everybody is happy. There's lots of candy and just Halloween spirit. Now, this couple loves Halloween as well. So they're like, okay, let's go. Let's go get some decorations. This is awesome. Let's get our house all done up like the rest of our neighbors. They go to the multiple Halloween stores because, of course, this town has a lot of costume and decoration stores. They're driving and they see one that's at the end of the road, not too far from their house. And they're like, let's go in here. Cool. The shop owner lets them in and, she's looking pretty Halloween-y. Got a nice long cloak on. Her hair is all black and long, giving very much witch. And she's got a lot of things around her, some herbs. There's a cat, of course. It's just your movie scene magic store owner kind of image. When they get into the store, they're like, hi, how are you? Like, how's it going? The lady's like, hello, blah, blah, blah. Like, everything is for you to buy. Just if you have any questions, let me know. Please don't go into either of the side rooms. And she kind of like gestures. There's like these hanging beads that separate this next doorway. You can kind of see some lights in the doorway, but nothing too special is going on. They don't really care. They're just doing their shopping. They're finding these little skeletons and all these little ghosts, all the cute Halloween decorations. The wife accidentally drops something and it rolls over. She goes to pick it up and boom. Of course, she's in the hidden secret room. How did she get there? It all happened so fast. But basically the item rolled over. She walked into the room unknowingly and she was in the room. Now her husband obviously follows her in and they're like, whoa, like what's all this? They see a bunch of potions, a bunch of magical looking stuff in this room and they start touching it. So they're touching all this stuff and the lady comes in and she is pissed. She's no longer the happy little store merchant. She is full on witch and she is mad. She's like, don't touch my things. Don't disrespect my space. How could you guys come in here and disobey the simplest of requests? She's like, get out of my store. You guys have to leave. And of course they leave embarrassed. When they get home, though, the wife, she takes something out of her pocket. And the husband's like, what is that? She's like, I took something. I took something in that room we were in. That, silly little witch was yelling at us, and I slipped it in my pocket. The husband's like, oh my gosh, no, we have to bring that back immediately. He maybe doesn't believe in witches, but he's definitely superstitious. He thinks this is going to be some sort of bad luck, and he really wants to bring it back. But the wife is like, no, it's okay. No, we're going to keep it. I don't like that woman. She yelled at me. She's very childish, clearly. They get ready and go to bed, and the wife wakes up the next morning. She feels great. She looks over to see her beautiful husband, and he's not there. He's gone. She's looking around the house, calling his name. His car's there. All his clothes is there. Everything at home is normal. He's just not there. She's freaking out at this point, and she goes back to the store. She says, hey, I took this from your store, and now my husband's gone. Like, here is your trinket back. Please bring my husband back. I'm so sorry. If this is you, please just make it go away. The lady, the witch, is like, I'm real sorry, and I'm thankful you brought this back, but you didn't steal this from me. The room you guys were in was an altar for the goddess Trila. She's the goddess of autumn. She's the goddess of kind of, Halloween and this whole spiritual time where the spiritual world and the physical realm are very close. If you don't know why Halloween is celebrated, it was actually a pagan holiday that celebrated, the celestial time of where the moon and the world are kind of like the closest together. It's supposed to be the most spiritual time during this time. And that's why people started wearing costumes to scare away, the ghosts, because we're so close to the spiritual world. So essentially you pissed off the ghost keeper, the girl that keeps all the ghosts at bay and away from us and kind of calm and keeps the boundaries. You pissed off. And I'm pretty sure she took your husband. There's nothing I can really do for you now. Of course, the lady freaks out when she hears this. She's like, oh my gosh, no, bring my husband back. All I took was a little trinket, and she took my whole ass husband. That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. And the witch is like, I know the most I can help you with is a ritual, like to help you appease her and maybe ask for your husband back. All you have to do is listen carefully and do exactly what I say. Get an outfit of your husband's, a bottom, a top, a shirt, whatever, top and bottom. Get his gloves, get some shoes, get a hat, and then get a bag that you can draw a face on. Draw a simple face, 2 eyes and a mouth. That's it. Then you're going to stuff all of this with a material, a natural material. It could be sticks, it could be leaves, it could be snow, whatever it is. You have to make sure it's from nature. And then you're going to wait until the full moon, which happens to also be Halloween, and you're going to put your husband's outfit, stuffed body, essentially underneath the moon on Halloween and wait for him to tell you what to do. She's like, wait for him to tell me what to do? She's like, yes, you're going to wait for your husband to tell you what to do. And don't worry, it's going to make sense when it happens. Just do everything exactly as I say. So the wife goes home immediately and picks out a cute outfit for her husband and goes outside to her front lawn where there's a bunch of leaves, and she begins stuffing the body. Stuffing the clothes. She begins stuffing the clothes, and then she waits until the night comes, and she brings his stuffed outfit out, lays him down like a proper scarecrow man, and she waits for the full moon to move past the cloud. Of course, there was a cloud. And once it moved past the cloud, she saw nothing happen. She's like, what the hell? I've been waiting out here. There's the moon. There's the stuffed outfit and myself. What's happening? She waits for about 20 more minutes, and then she turns around to leave. As soon as she turns around to leave, she hears like crinkling of leaves. And she turns back around and she sees that the stuffed outfit is now standing up like a proper scarecrow man. She looks and waits for it to say something because she remembers the lady said, your husband's going to say something and tell you something. Then the scarecrow man, or her husband, lifts his arms up, takes a step towards her, and starts to mumble or murmur, hmm, 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 hmm. Now the girl's like, what? Like, what's going on? When she drew his face, she drew 2 eyes and a mouth. But looking closer now, she sees that his mouth looks like it has stitches all across his mouth. He can't talk. She had put little X's across his smile to represent little kisses. X's are kisses, O's are hugs. That's something that's done in some places. So she thought it would be cute to put a bunch of kisses across his lips. This would make him look like a stereotypical scarecrow, and she didn't see anything wrong with that. Now, of course, she can't understand what this man is saying, and he's walking towards her with his arms, and all she can hear is, and she's like, oh my gosh, it sounds like he's saying hungry. Like, what if he's trying to eat her? What if he has to come back to life and he needs to eat and he's part zombie? She doesn't know what's going on. She's just very scared. So she starts running. She runs and leaves her husband as he's chasing after her. She runs to the witch lady, all the way to the witch lady. She's like, what's going on? There's like a monster. Not my husband. What is this? She's like, did you do everything I said? She's like, yes, I did. I, did the smile on the face, but I put little X's so he couldn't talk when he came. And she's like, if he couldn't talk, he couldn't tell you. He was just trying to tell you the final step to complete this ritual. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. I have to find him. The witch is like, yeah, you do gotta find him, and you better make it quick, because after this full moon, after this, spiritual time, this type of ritual won't work. Tria won't be around to give us the spiritual power and loosen the borders like you need right now. So you need to find him tonight. This is the last thing the wife needed to hear. She's already in a panic. She's pregnant. She misses her husband. She's still low-key kind of scared of his scarecrow body. So she's like running around, can't find him in the woods, gets in her car, driving around, cannot find him. It goes past midnight and she's so upset. She starts drinking. She's like, I'm not going to find my husband. I'm a single mother. Like, my life is over. She gets into a car accident and crashes the car. Of course, it flips. The ambulance comes, takes her to the hospital, and they deliver her baby because she's in a really bad shape. She's got to get the baby out of her. The baby's like 7 months at this time, so it's premature, but it survives. It lives. The baby is a girl, and she's very healthy. Unfortunately, the wife ended up dying in the car accident. She never found the husband, and she never even got to meet her daughter. So that was a tragic end to her life. But as the child grows up in the same neighborhood, she gets to see this scarecrow every year. It's a scarecrow. And no matter what, there's always a scarecrow on her street. And for whatever reason, the parents don't know why, her adoptive parents, she always kind of loved the scarecrow. And she would hug it and she'd run up to it. And the parents would be like, oh, we're sorry. I don't know why. Our daughter just likes scarecrows. Most kids were scared of the scarecrows, especially the one that this year showed up. At this point, the girl is 14 years old. And the scarecrow that she usually sees, it's usually in one of the houses across the street from her. It's wearing different clothes, but it always has the same face. X's across the smile. And for some reason, she always liked that. She liked the little X's. It always reminded her of kisses. Everybody else said it looked scary and creepy, and they didn't like to walk past it on the sidewalk. But she's always like, oh, that's the scarecrow man. I love him. When she was a kid, she used to call him the scary man. Not because she was scared of him, but because that's all she could pronounce. She couldn't say scarecrow. So she'd be like, look, mommy, look, daddy, the scary man, the scary man. So even now in her head, now that she's 14, she always would call it the scary man, and she would smile. On this Halloween, she's getting older. She's not going to go trick-or-treating. Instead, she's going to a party. She goes with her friends and, they're 14, but they're teenagers. There's some drugs. There's some alcohol at the party. Our girl here, she's not into that. She doesn't want to do any drugs or alcohol. Things are starting to get out of hand. People are going off and leaving the party. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to go home. Her friends are like, what are you talking about? It's Halloween. Like, let's party all night. We're going to stay. And never do this, ladies and gentlemen. They let their friend, go off alone into the night. She's like, whatever, I'm going to go home. This is a small little town. It's safe. And mind you, it is a small little town. It's safe, but things had changed since she was a baby. It's a little bit more dangerous. So on the way home, she hears somebody following her. She looks behind. It's this really tall, big man. And she's like, hi, whatever. He doesn't say anything. And everybody in this town is pretty friendly. They talk to each other. So that off the bat is just a red sign, a red flag. So she's a little creeped out. She picks up her pace. He obviously picks up her pace. She looks back, sees him. She starts running now, runs all the way home, locks the door. She turns on the TV. Her parents are out at their own party, and she sees on the news that there's a breaking story. Of course, a serial killer is on the loose. And at this point, she's so scared. She cuts off the TV. She turns off all the lights, and she clicks on her phone to call somebody. Her phone is a very low percentage. It's going to die. She's like, okay, I can't really call anybody. I got to save this just in case I need to call 911. She starts hearing the front door open, like rattling. She thinks it's her parents, but it's just rattling. The keys aren't going in. She realizes someone is just trying to get into the house. So she plugs her ears, closes her eyes, and just starts rocking back and forth. She's terrified. Then she hears glass breaking. Glass breaking. At this point, she does a little yelp. She's like, ah! She runs into her room and crawls under the bed. She doesn't hear anything for a couple of minutes. So, she takes out her phone. She has 911 dialed. She walks down the stairs, and there is just a mess of glass. Nobody's in the house. She looks to see that the window is busted open, but the door is still locked. So she's like, okay, somebody busted the front door window. It's the front door window. Somebody broke that, but nobody got in. So why would they stop? She pokes her head outside, and she doesn't see anybody. But then she can hear this sound. She's like, what the hell is that? She gets her phone. She grabs a knife from the kitchen because she's adventurous, but she's not stupid. She grabs a knife and she goes outside. She starts walking around. It's kind of dark. It's windy, a stereotypical Halloween night. And she hears a burnt snap. She turns around. It's the Scarecrow Man, a.k.a. the Scary Man. She's like, hello? Like, are you real? Can you hear me? And she then hears him say, She's like, I don't understand what you're saying. Like, what are you saying? She walks closer and closer. Then he grabs her and she starts screaming. She's like, oh my God, let me go, let me go. And he's like, and starts pressing harder and harder on her. And she's like freaking out, but then she realizes that he's pressing his hands on her back, kind of like a hug. And for a split second, she's like, no way, he's hugging me. But she's like, what else could it be? Let me just hug him back. I don't know what's going on. She wraps her arms around him and hugs him. He's squishy and he's kind of wet because, he's made of leaves. And then the humming stops and all of a sudden he gets firmer. She feels his body getting firmer and harder. And she looks up and is a regular human being. A regular human being. And she can recognize it's her father. She never got to meet her parents, as we know, but she had seen photos of them. And she recognized this man to be her father. She's like, Dad? And he's like, oh my goodness. He's weeping. He's like, all these years I've been watching you. You're so brave. You're so smart. I was saying, hug me, hug me. That's the last thing I needed to complete this ritual to bring me back to life. Of course, he told her the whole story, but it was all a very emotional night. She brought him back inside the house. Of course, her parents came home. She told him the story. But the Scarecrow Man was her father all these years, and he watched her every Halloween. he would come to life on and, you know, just watch her and be there for her. He never wanted to scare her, so he never knew when it was a good time to meet her. But, you know, this Halloween, that creepy serial killer dude was about to get into that house, and he, you know, he did what he had to do as a father. Scarecrow or not, you know, you're not going to sit there and watch your daughter get kidnapped or murdered or something. So he obviously disposed of that gentleman and was reunited with his daughter. Unfortunately, his wife obviously remained dead, but her memory lived on through the love that her husband and her daughter shared for her. That was the story of the scary man. It ended in a happy ending, I think, because, you know, it's Halloween, but it's not about blood and serial killers. Halloween is fun and loving just as much as any other holiday. All right, you guys, that was the story. I hope you enjoyed it and you're not too scared. Extra points for everybody who knows who I'm dressed as, or who I was dressed as for Halloween. Jinkies. That's your only hint. I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye.